Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Things are crazy, but I still want to decorate a bit for Christmas. I bought a lot of stuff last year on clearance. I just save a lot of money that way. And this year I really can't buy any new decor. So I just bought like a couple of things to help me with my crafting. Nothing huge. I'm gonna make some things over to fit my style this year because, I'm a little fickle. I change my mind about colors and things like that. If you want to see how I make over some of my Christmas decor, just keep on watching. Christmas videos are coming up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, not bells. There's only one bell, only one notification bell. Okay, that's enough. Many of you are new to my channel. So every year I love to go to Target and shop their 90% after Christmas sale. The savings are incredible. If you haven't seen this video, this was last year's video, I'll leave a link for it down in the description box. When I shop Target clearance, I feel like I'm getting such a great deal. The quality is so much better than Dollar Tree. I do give a lot of these things away as gifts, but I like to keep a few of them in my stash so that I can DIY them. Let's take this sign for example. I paid $1.49 for it. But I'm more of a neutral kind of gal. So I'm going to DIY this sign, but I am going to use the back. I don't want to ruin the sign just in case next year I'm like all into red. I'm fickle, I told you. First thing I'm going to do is remove all of the hardware, the gazillion staples, the paper. I mean, there were layers upon layers to this thing. And I was trying to be very careful. I didn't want to ruin the other side. Since I'm going to be using the back of the sign and it's just like plain cardboard, I wanted to give it a little more texture. I also want to use up all of the things that I have in my stash. So this burlap ribbon was $1 at the Target dollar spot. I picked that up last year. I felt it was going to be the perfect backdrop to this DIY because it's such a neutral color. I cut 6 pieces of ribbon, all the same size, leaving about a 1/4 inch on either end, just in case, I have a mishap or something. Now I'm going to be using spray adhesive by Scotch, this spray mount. This is only the second time that I've used this. I used this once for a stencil project and it worked great. I was a little afraid that it would stain the burlap, but even though it looks a little wet in the picture, it does dry clear. You just want to make sure that you put enough, especially at the ends, because I did have some lifting on the ends and I had to go back and spray again. But it worked really well. I'm assuming you can use hot glue or maybe even a glue stick to do this. I had this spray mount, so I figured let me just try it. So it took 6 pieces of ribbon to cover the frame, and I just made sure to get them really close so that none of the cardboard would show through. Cut off some of the excess that was hanging over. I didn't want it to be too bulky in the frame, but you're not going to see that, so I didn't get too crazy. And then I just put it back together, making sure that everything is nice and secure. Now don't ask me why I bought this, but I did buy this for $1.50 last year. It's a puzzle. I love anything that's wood, and I knew someday it would come in handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the triangles and try to create a Christmas tree. I was trying to use a level. I downloaded an app on my phone and no, that didn't really work. So I just went ahead and eyeballed this. It's never a good thing when Marta eyeballs things, but this didn't come out too bad. I used E6000 and hot glue. I wanted a good strong hold. I don't need these things falling on the floor in the middle of the night. I already think there are ghosts in my house. So yeah, I didn't want to hear any weird noises in the middle of the night. I take a square and I'm going to use that as the stump. Is that what you call it? The stump? I'm no arborist or landscaper, so I don't know what that's called. But I know you guys know what I mean. I'm in love with the way that this came out. It's such a simple design, but it packs a punch. Love the way that this wood looks against the burlap and the contrast with the frame. It all goes so nicely together. I'm going for simple this year. That whole less is more concept, and this definitely fits the bill. I love it. This next makeover was super simple. I picked up this star at Marshall's for $4 after the 4th of July on clearance. Now I went over to Target and I saw this beautiful figurine. It's by Threshold. It was $15, and when I saw it I remembered, oh geez, I have a star. This year I'm going with gold accents. I used to hate gold and now I love it, so go figure. I'm going to paint everything except for the base with Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint. I love using this paint as a base for any project that I'm going to do, especially when, you know, it's full of color. I love this. It's very opaque and it does cover very well. One coat covered up all of that blue and that red. Once everything was dry, I go in with my, oh hi Maxie, with my Deco Art Dazzling Metallics Glorious Gold paint. And I just give it one coat. And this DIY is done. This next makeover is also very easy and very inexpensive. 2 years ago when I first started my channel, I picked up these little Christmas tree clips for $1 at the Target dollar spot. Here I am in my very first YouTube video. I am going to start off by painting them black with some black acrylic paint, just the top of the trees. I really like that the clips are brown, the springs are gold. It's going to fit perfectly with my bedroom. This is for my bedroom. We're doing a bedroom makeover on the series called AKA The Parkers. Stay tuned for that. It's coming up soon. Now I'm going to be using the frame that the puzzle came in. I wanted to paint the inside of the frame white, so for the first time I'm going to be trying this Jot acrylic paint from Dollar Tree. I have to tell you, I had to switch to the Waverly. I didn't like it at all. You could see right through. Oh God, my paint. Look, I haven't used it in so long that it is completely dry. But it managed to do the trick. I'm going to stipple my brush because I don't want a smooth finish. And then I'm going to use some nail polish remover because I don't use tape. I just don't have time for that. I just use a little bit to clean up all of my edges. I can never get it right. I'm going to take this old necklace. I pulled it apart. I never wear it. These beads I may just use in another DIY in a future video. I don't know. You could always use beads for something. And I'm just going to pull this chain apart in different areas. I want to use the chain to embellish the Christmas trees. I just use some hot glue, and that's how I attach pieces of the chain different ways onto the Christmas tree, the way that I see fit. Glue them down to the bottom of the frame, and then I take a gold permanent marker and make, I don't know, I guess you could say they're snowflakes. I'm no Picasso, but I tried. Now wreaths are so expensive. I picked this one up last year along with a few others for $3.49 at Target, 90% off. I also picked up this metal Noel hanging thing that I used on my Christmas tree last year. All this stuff is hearth and hand, and it was I think about $1.49. Now, like I said, I'm all about the gold this year, and if you want to spray paint something gold, I have to tell you, this is the best spray paint. It's by Design Master. I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's such a pretty gold color. I actually went back and spray painted the star with this spray paint. Great coverage. Now, I'm going to remove the chain from the bar. I'm going to take some of the copper LED lights from the Dollar Tree. This is definitely one item that I pick up from the Dollar Tree every time I see it. I just love them. And I'm going to try to wrap them around the actual word. Took me a few tries. First I started with the battery pack, putting that through all the loops and the hoops, and that didn't work. So I had to take it apart and then start over. I realize many of you are not going to have this exact Noel sign, but if you ever want to wrap lights around a word, don't be like Marta. Do not start with the battery pack. Anyway, I went about 3 or 4 inches down, past the battery pack, not the battery park. That's in Manhattan. And I wrapped the lights around as evenly as possible. To attach it to the wreath, I'm just going to use some gold wire. It's very thin. I had it in my stash. And I'm just going to finagle it in there somehow. Finagle. I love that word. You know, that word is from the 1920s and it meant to be dishonest. I'm not trying to be dishonest. Well, maybe I am. I want it to look like it's been there all along and that it's just been hanging that way forever. And to embellish my wreath, I wanted to go with gold and with white. These cranberries at Target over at the WONDERSHOP, they were $5. You get 40 in a pack for these large cranberries. I think it's a great deal. I'm going to spray paint mine gold, but you can certainly leave them red if that's your style. That's the beauty of spray paint. You can totally customize anything. I'm not going to use any hot glue. I'm just going to pop these right into the actual wreath form along with some pine cones and some white picks. If I change my mind about colors next year, all I have to do is just pull them right out. For the battery pack, originally I tried a Dollar Tree Velcro strip. That didn't work. It fell off a few minutes after I filmed this, so I ended up using a command strip.
Please jingle with me, baby. I wanna get to know you better. Please jingle with me, darling. How much fun it's gonna be together. Now listen. Why do I care how much it may snow? 'Cause I've got my love to keep me warm. And why do I care how much it may snow? I've got my love to keep me warm. Oh, winter weather, I love the winter.
I was totally on the fence as to whether I should show you this DIY or not. But if you've been with me for a while, you know that I do show you things that I think are a fail. So I picked up this sign on clearance. It was like $1.20, 90% off at Michael's last year. If you don't have something like that, you could always use the Dollar Tree houses. I don't know if Dollar Tree still has these, but you can make them as well. I've seen many DIYers do that. I start off by using some of my folk art antique white acrylic paint, and I'm not looking for full coverage. I wanted this to look a bit rustic. And some parts of this video are a bit blurry. That's one of the many reasons that I wasn't going to show you this DIY, but you'll be able to get the gist of it. I really hope so anyway. Now I'm going to use these Dollar Tree wooden stems. I'm only going to use 3 of them. We're going to be making a nativity scene, and I buy beads on Amazon. I always have a pack of beads around. I love beads and they come in handy. So what I'm going to do is take a stem and glue a bead right on top of it. Now I'm going to take another stem, a little chubbier, because the first one was Joseph and now I'm making Mary and she's a little girthy. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just glue a head, so to speak, on top of the stem. And last, but certainly not least, we have baby Jesus, and I'm using a very small bead for his head and an even smaller stem. So there you go, the whole fam bam. Am I being disrespectful? I'm sorry, God. Now here's where things get a little blurry, but I'm going to try and walk you through this, try and explain it, even if you can't see it so well. I'm going to be cutting a triangle because we have to dress these people. We can't leave them with no clothes. So I'm using a piece of white felt that I had, and I'm cutting it into a triangle to make it into a blanket for the baby. and I was trying to remember how I swaddled my grandson when he was little, or my kids for that matter, and I never did a good job at that. But I'm trying to swaddle baby Jesus, and I'm just going to wrap the felt around him and then tie it off with some twine. And I should have cut the felt a little smaller, but it is what it is. You following me? Okay, good. Now I'm going to make clothes for Joseph and Mary out of this brown felt. Now I'm no tailor, so I don't want to hear anything from the peanut gallery talking about, what kind of an outfit is that? Listen, I'm trying to do the best that I can. So we're just going to cut a little piece and we're going to wrap it around Mary and glue it together. And then I'm going to tie some twine around it. I feel like she needs a belt to give her a little bit of a waistline, you know what I'm saying? Now Mary needs something on her head, so I'm going to cut what seems like, I don't even know if it's a triangle, oblongle, rectangle, but I'm going to put it on her head. And I'm going to use a little hot glue to do that. Now at first, Mary starts looking a lot like the Flying Nun. Now I know I'm dating myself. Does anybody remember the Flying Nun? That's what she looks like. But we're going to fix that. Joseph is going to be dressed in brown as well. And all I do is just wrap a piece of the felt, the brown felt, around him and glue it. I do tie some twine around his waist, not to give him a waistline, but because we don't need your robe falling off, Joseph. Thank you. Bye-bye. This part gets really blurry, but stick with me. I promise you it's almost over. I use another piece of brown felt to make that cover that's on Joseph's head. I don't know what it's called. If you know, let me know. It's almost the same as I did with Mary, but the difference here is that I'm going to take the twine and I'm going to wrap it around his forehead. Hippies did that in the 60s. He was way ahead of his time. Okay, moving on. Dollar Tree raffia. I'm just going to take some and we're going to make baby Jesus his manger. I'm just going to put him in there and I'm going to wrap him with that same raffia. And I don't know what's going on with Max. He's having issues. I have to cut his nails. I don't know why I cut the raffia. I should have left it alone because now you can see the hole on the top of his head. Sorry, baby Jesus. Everybody in the stable with some hot glue. I did use some twine after the fact because baby Jesus was coming loose. And that star, I'm going to take that away because I just made that and I didn't like the way it looks. So this is going to look a little different in the end, just a little bit. And let's all thank baby Jesus. We are finished.
Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel.
So here it is, my own little nativity set. I actually picked one up last year at a thrift store and gave it to my daughter. I have a habit of doing that, giving things away, but that's what mamas do. I love this. I think it's just adorable. It's not perfect. Mary looks a little more like Mother Teresa right now, but it's cute. It's an idea and maybe somebody can make it over and do a better job than I did. It's never about perfection and always about inspiration. We're going through some really tough times now. If nothing else, I hope this video made you giggle, but I hope it inspired you to think outside of the box and look around your house for things that you can repurpose, also to shop clearance. It really is the way to go. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time with another Christmas video, so please hit those notification bells so you don't miss a thing. I love you, and I will see you next time, my friends.
No.